Well, salutations, kindred spirits, greetings. Welcome to another exclusive video tutorial, and this one is coming to you by request as I had some members ask about this trick. It's a trick that I put on the Shorts platform about a year ago. When members ask, I listen. Might take me a couple months to get to it, but better late than never, as here we are discussing Ed Marlo's Cardition Makes Good, or as I called the thing, How a Magician Plays Solitaire. I got some personalizations, and we'll talk about all that in just a moment. Let's take a look at the routine in question. Here is how a Cardition makes good. Here, let me show you how a magician plays solitaire. We'll start with a target card. The goal of the game is to find the three mates, the three matches to that card as quickly as possible. Yeah, for example, if these are the, 1, 2, 3 jacks, then the card we started with should also be, fortunately, Magic Solitaire allows for transformation, so we can change that ace into a jack and move right along. Although optionally, we could change the jacks back into aces. That works too, but to do that, we gotta go right back where we started. That's what happens when you leave a magician alone in quarantine with a deck of cards. I guess you could say I'm in solitaire confinement. So yeah, there's a lot going on in that eye-popping routine, and maybe that's why Frank Garcia called it Eyemazing, and that's where I learned it, from a Frank Garcia videotape back in the 80s, Stars of Magic VHS tape. Yeah, Frank called this Eyemazing. Turns out it's an Ed Marlo trick. Cardition makes good, and here are the details. You'll need 2 sets of 4 of a kind and 1 indifferent card. If you're gonna handle this as Frank does, and I'm gonna talk about 2 methods for handling this, the easy way is to put a crimp in the cards. Put a little bend in there. This is gonna facilitate some multiple lift handlings, maybe concave the deck in the opposite direction, so that when you're grabbing for a multiple block of what'll be 7 or 8 cards later on, these crimps will facilitate that. I'm gonna advocate pinky counts, but I know a lot of you don't do that, so we're gonna give you alternatives. Now you need to get the stack right, first of all. Here's the setup on the trick. You got the lion's share of the deck face down. Put 3 aces face up atop that, and then an indifferent card face up atop the aces. The 4 of a kind, the jacks in this case, go face down atop those, and then that last ace goes face down atop everything, and this is your stack. Now, we do like to begin this trick with a false mix. It's easy enough just to shuffle off the face, leaving your setup intact at the rear of the deck. Just put it back to the rear. I think when I opened this clip for the short platform, I did this cardistry thing, which keeps the top block intact. Whatever you do, you leave the top stock, and when you're ready to start the routine, we begin by putting a quote-unquote target card to the table. Now, I like to use Alex Elmsley's little finger spinner here, and this is just shooting the card off the corner of the deck with your little pinky. It just applies pressure. It's kind of like the one-handed top palm action, but it shoots it out and kind of on a spiral off the third finger. The wrist rotates a little bit during this action, and that's the little finger spinner. I do this following a brief overhand mix, put the deck here, and then boom. The idea is that you don't want your audience knowing this card came off the top. There are all alternatives. A slip cut would probably work. This is how I do it. That's our target card. Now, place the deck face up into dealing grip. We're going to use a John Bannon procedure, which looks like this. And the implication is that we're taking random cards out of the deck, but these are going to be the jacks that are at the rear of the pack. So here's the details on that. With the deck held in dealing grip, the right hand approaches an overhand or biddle grip and begins a kick cut. So we lift the whole deck into biddle, and then the forefinger is going to lift and kick the top quarter, about the top fourth of the pack, into the awaiting dealing grip of the left hand. Immediately, the right hand turns palm up away from you, turning the deck face down, and then the thumb pulls the top card, which is one of the jacks, face up atop its portion. Repeat this procedure, rotating the hand face up, kick cutting about a fourth of the pack onto the initial packet, turn the right hand palm up again, and then peel a second one. And again, it's another jack. One more, a kick cut, a rotate, a peel,
And now this, we just peel one card. Just peel one card onto this jack. This is just to keep this card stabilized as the lion's share goes back to the bottom, and this is your stack going back to where it started. And then we turn the deck face down to reveal we've cut to the 3 matching jacks. Now we're going to infer that these cards are going to match this card, and as we do so, we're going to prep for a multiple card turnover. Now I'm doing this under the cover of the jacks. I'm secretly pinky counting off the top of the deck 5 cards to get a break under those 4 aces and the indifferent card on top. Now, in lieu of the pinky count, you can use that crimp. You can see that bend right there. You can just, after producing these jacks, set them on top of the pack, lift for the natural back-to-back break, and then execute a multiple turnover at this point. That is perfectly serviceable, but we are going to advocate the pinky count procedure. So let me rewind just a little bit. We've produced our jacks, we've shown them, we're pinky counting 5 at this point to ensure that we have our break under the exact amount. These cards go atop of the deck. We turn over the card on the table to show that we've matched. We turn over the multiple block and then deal the top 3 cards to the table as we feign disappointment. Now we're going to transform this ace into a jack, and this happens starting with a double lift. Now again, there is a little back-to-back break with the bend cards, but I'm going to recommend you get this break with a pinky count as you pick up the ace, and this is our cover for the pinky count, picking up the ace, placing it on top of the pack, and then you lift the triple. This is all 3 cards. Lift the triple off the top of the deck as you pull the single ace atop the face down talon. You'll have a face-to-face pair in your hand, and this is to facilitate this paintbrush change. You're gonna make it look like the ace changes into a jack. So one more time, the ace goes onto the top. We lift up our triple as the thumb peels the ace onto the top. The double is rubbed atop it. The top card is pulled back. I do flash this card to show it's not an ace, and then shove this into the middle of the deck. We now do a double turnover. Once again, you can reach for that back-to-back break if you don't want to do a pinky count, but I opt for the pinky count to do my doubles. Turn this card down. Now the trick's over, but we're going to get one more change because we're already there with the jacks turning into aces, and then you turn the last jack back into an ace. And this is my small rendition, my small alternative handling of Ed Marlowe's Hard-Dition Makes Good. I do suppose it's worth noting that your jacks are right here atop the pack, so you're ready to go maybe into a reproduction of these cards and do a routine. I would suggest, if you're not familiar with Paul Harris's reset routine, this would be a good place for you to start developing a synergistic sequence. And I think that's about all the information that you need to know for this routine. If I did miss something, or if you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave a comment below. But hey, I hope you liked what you saw, and maybe some of you will be inspired to make good. Be a Cardician, make good. I'll quit talking now. Thanks for watching.